Hey everyone, welcome back to the Hardcore Fab Shop. And yes, still working back here on the No Regrets buggy. Now this thing is so close to being ready to rock and roll, literally rock and roll, that we've only got a small handful of things left to do on it. And one of those things is bleeding the brakes. Now if you guys have done any brake jobs by yourself in the past, you know that it's a total pain to do it by yourself. You're trying to jam some 2x4s in there against the steering wheel and onto the brake pedal or something like that, and try to go and loosen everything and tighten everything all back up before the board falls. Total pain in the rear. So what I've got today is a new cool tool that I found from Phoenix Systems, and it is called the Max Pro HD. And this thing is supposed to make it way easier to do some brake bleeding jobs by yourself. So I think that since I need to do the brakes here, this thing is going to be a perfect opportunity for us to test this thing out and see how well it works. So if you guys are interested, stick around and we'll see what happens. Alright, so what we have here is the Max Pro HD brake bleeder, and this is a reverse bleeder, which is one of those things that actually makes this thing in particular really cool. And by a reverse bleeder, what I mean is that this bleeder actually has the capability of being able to bleed in reverse. So instead of having the fluid come out of the caliper, we can actually put fluid into the caliper with this gun right here and have it come back up through the master cylinder, which actually pushes the air bubbles the direction that, air bubbles want to go, up. So that gives that a little bit of advantage over a lot of other units. Of course, it comes with a owner's manual, and we need to read all that and check that all out. I've got a bunch of different fittings here that allow me to go to all kinds of different calipers. There's also some fittings in here that will actually allow this to go into the master cylinder itself, so we don't have to go in reverse if we don't want to. We can go the way that the fluid usually goes on a normal brake bleeding application. And it also comes with a pretty cool reservoir that's got a little magnetic base to it, so you can stick that on the inside of pretty much whatever vehicle you need to and have that just kind of sitting there hanging out with you. Makes things a lot easier. Then of course you got the rest of the hoses and stuff in here to allow you to attach up to pretty much whatever make and model of stuff that you've got going on. So Phoenix Systems also sent over some of their test strips, and these test strips are actually good for obviously brake fluid and for antifreeze. Our stuff is all brand new, so I don't think we're gonna have any problems with that on this one, but my pickup that I drive every day has over 200,000 miles on it, so I am gonna be checking that with these here in just a little while just to see where I sit with that. Phoenix Systems also sent us over one of their brake bleeder screw removal tools, and this is a pretty cool unit because it will actually allow you to unfreeze an old, stuck, been around forever brake bleeder. And you do have to put this into the end of a air chisel, and then you put your socket on the end of there, and it kind of just hammers up and down, and you turn on it at the same time, and that will release your brake bleeder so that you can get your brakes bled on a lot of older stuff. Now, so we're not going to be using that today, but I'm super glad that they sent that over because I know for sure that we will be using that in the future at some point. Now I've found the right fittings to be able to hook everything all together. These fittings are just kind of a twist and lock type deal, so pretty simple there. You don't need any tools or anything to put all this together. I filled up my bottle full of some new brake fluid, and on the top of the cap, they actually have a little thing there that looks kind of like the end of a bleeder. So you can go ahead and bleed your system here, or bleed your tool before you actually hook it up to your unit so that you're not pumping air bubbles into your unit. So that's what I did. I went ahead and found the little fitting that goes on there. It's a different size than the one that's actually on our razor. The one on the razor is a little bit smaller, so I had to go find the right adapter to be able to go to the caliper on the razor. And I think now I'm ready to go ahead and try to bleed the system. So I'm gonna go ahead and stick this on over here, find me a good place. We got metal everywhere, so it shouldn't be a problem. Actually, I'm gonna stick it up high on my dash. So that holds that up out of the way, and this goes on the bleeder down there, but I have to go get a wrench and loosen that first. So I'm gonna do that, and we'll be right back. Before I get started, I want to go ahead and flip the camera around here and show you that the master cylinder is dry, along with all the rest of the parts on here pretty much, because they've been just sitting around the shop here leaking all over the place while we've been building the buggy. So Let me show you that, and then you can see that it's dry, and then we'll look at it again after we get done trying to bleed everything out. Everything else is so nice and clean on here. I guess I need to kind of wipe some of that off, but you can see in here now that that is dry. Actually, it's dirty inside there too. Maybe I should, yeah, I think I better try to wipe that out before we get started. All right, so got my little wrench out here. Got my fitting on there that fits, and I think we're just going to slow and steady try to push the fluid in here through the system. I'm going to go ahead and open her up. I can hear it going into the master cylinder, so that should be a good sign. Let it fill back up here with fluid. That's quite a bit of fluid through this system. I've only got about, maybe 3 foot of line here, somewhere in that neighborhood. So not a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and make sure this is good and tight and check up there at my master cylinder and see what I've got. I'm not actually hearing any air bubbles now, so that's probably a good sign. I think we're golden. So I'm going to go ahead and move to the other side and do it. And that should have the front pretty well done, I think, at that point. So the front part of the tank on these has a little wall in here that kind of divides out the fluid to 2 sides of it. So it actually had to build up enough fluid to go over the wall. But now that I've got both the front calipers bled, I've actually got fluid over into the other side now. So I'm going to go ahead to the back now and bleed those, but I think I'm going to set the camera up over the lid of the tank here, and you guys can watch the fluid coming back up inside the tank. Well, I got my little mess there cleaned up. Got some wheels and tires back on this thing, and like I said, we're so close to having this thing fired up. Hopefully later today we'll have that happening. And that means that here quick like in the near future, we're gonna have some videos of this thing out on the trail, tearing up some stuff. So if you're interested, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below the video. Make sure to hit the bell next to it so you get notifications when the next video comes out, because it's probably going to be on this thing. Like I said, out in the woods, tearing up some dirt. So should be good times. Definitely gonna be fun for me to make, and it should be fun for you guys to watch as well, so be looking for that. Also, before I go, I want to say a quick shout out and a thank you to Phoenix Systems for hooking us up with the brake bleeder that they sent over. I did hit them up and ask them to send it over, and they did, but it was not a paid promotion. I didn't get paid to say one way or another whether it was good, and if it wasn't good, I probably just wouldn't have showed it to you guys. So the fact that you guys are watching this tells you that it's a good piece of equipment to have in your shop. It's definitely worthwhile. So definitely consider them if you guys are looking for a bleeder for your shop. And also, other stuff like little test strips that I'm getting ready to go test on my pickup here. So I guess that's about all I got for you guys on today's video. We'll see you guys on the next one.